Hello everyone, welcome to this edition of the Tonka Report. I'm Randy Gilbert, and today I have the pleasure of having the mayors of Shorewood and Maple Plain, Scott Zerby and Roger Hackbarth, with us. We have an interesting show today. Both mayors are newly elected in this last election cycle, but have served on the council for 10 years and 6 years. So, gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you. Nice
Thank
to be
you.
here.
So, Scott, let me start with you and just ask what prompted you, after 10 years on the council, to decide to run for mayor?
Well, I have an interesting story in that I was on the council for 6 years, and then my wife said, you need to stay home and go to some Boy Scout meetings and dance recitals and so on and not run again. And I was, not happy about that, but she was right, and it was the right thing to do. So I was off for 4 years, which was a nice break, and I kind of got called back. You know, people had said we could really use you back on the council. Some of the people that are on the council now are kind of, frustrating to us, and we could use your, sensibilities. So I ran again and won another term. At that point, I said, if I really want to continue my service for the community, I'd like to do it as a mayor, if I have that opportunity. And fortunately, I was given that opportunity this fall when the the previous mayor decided not to run. And I was even more fortunate in that I ran unopposed, which I've told people has sort of been the world's longest runway in terms of transition. I've had the support of the previous mayor, I've had the support of staff, I've had, not a lot of opposition in the way, so I've been able to start working with the staff and start formulating some of the things that we want to do in the coming years. So to me, it was just really something that I really wanted to do. I have a great sense of pride in our community, and being involved in it and making these decisions together with the rest of the council is really rewarding. So it was something I wanted to give a try and see how I could do.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
So, Roger, how about you? You were council for 6 years, as you stated, and you decided to step up, and you were not unopposed. You ran against the previous mayor.
I ran against the previous mayor, who had been there for almost 20 years as a council person and then 8 years as a mayor. So I was taking on the person who was steadfast in Maple Plain for many years. And I did so because the residents were telling me that they wanted to see a change. They thought that we needed to have some new ideas in Maple Plain, new thoughts, and new respect for the residents and the businesses. A lot of the residents felt they weren't being listened to, and the businesses weren't given the opportunity to grow without being severely punished for doing, what they were trying to do. So, and kind of the same story, Scott, with who really runs the household. Yep. And I have to apologize, and I'll do it publicly, to my wife Judy, in saying that I'm sorry that I didn't tell you that I was going to run for mayor until after I filed. So that was my downfall, but it turned into a passion, and it always has been a passion for me to serve the public. I was JC's for years in my earlier days, and Orono Community Education, so I've always been involved in the community, and I just figured that, if you're not going to be part of the solution, you're going to be part of the problem. So I said, I think I'll join the city fathers and see what I can do and help the community. And I think people resonated with what my message was, and if you don't mind, I'll read the message, because everybody said this is what we were hearing when you talked to us. And this is my campaign literature here. My thing is using common sense and listening to the needs of the people. I'm for government doing what they are supposed to do, protect and serve, but not to be intrusive in our lives. More laws or ordinances are not the answer. Bringing people together as a community with the purpose of helping one another is much more of a solution. And so I think that resonated with everybody that I talked to. As a matter of fact, the first time I was appointed to the council to fill a vacancy, and then the second time I ran, but I ran unopposed. And so this is the first time that I had run where there was another person, to have to run against. And after the first house that I knocked on the door, I was hooked. Everybody had a story to tell. I wanted to hear it. It was actually a pleasure to talk to the people rather than something that I dreaded to do. And the one thing, you know, that I came back with is that they said, no, I don't want to see you in 4 years. I want to see you sooner than 4 years. In other words, you know, we're electing you now, but let's have a conversation sooner than the next 4 years. And so I've said to a lot of people that we need to have more participation at City Hall so that you know, we can have a community voice rather than somebody talking from one place to the other place. I don't feel there should be us against them.
Right.
It should be us.
So Maple Plain is 4-year terms for the mayor?
Yes, 4-year term.
In Shorewood?
Just 2.
2 years?
Yeah, and I think that's obviously done for a reason. One of the phrases I used more and more is that government is defective by design, is what I call it. You know, it doesn't work like a business. You know, we have certain things that kind of are in our way, such as the open meeting laws, and I don't mean that in a bad way.
Right.
It serves a purpose, but it makes it sometimes difficult to get things done. You can't just go out and, you know, have a beer with your colleagues and figure out, you know, how you're going to sort out this issue and move forward. You know, you have to do it, you know, in a group, and you typically in front of a camera being recorded and what you're being said. So it makes it a little more cumbersome. And the 2-year term, it synchronizes with having 2 other council members elected every 2 years, so that you have the opportunity to basically overturn the majority every 2 years. Right. And so that's both good, but it can also be challenging because sometimes 2 years you're just getting started, I think, you know, in terms of putting your plans together, and then you have to then all of a sudden start running again. And as we know, you know, official or elected officials sometimes start running even before the election cycle comes up. You know, they're aware that's going to come up, and they want to make sure that they're doing the popular thing, not necessarily the right thing. So,
sure.
So yeah, we only have a 2-year term, so we'll see.
So both of you have been sworn in as of this taping, but have not had an official meeting yet. This is going to put you both on the spot, but do you feel you have a council that you're going to be able to work with and get good things done for your respective cities?
Well, our council is, we have 1 new member, and we have 3 former, whatever you want to call it. We have 2 people that are in the middle of their term, and then 1 person ran for their seat and won that seat back. So our council hasn't changed a lot. We have 4 people from the previous 2 years on it and 1 new person. So yes, I think we have a council that we can work with and get quite a bit of things done. I think each of our council members brings a different talent and a different set of skills to the table, and also has a different amount of experience within the city. So I'm looking forward to working with the council we have. We have had 1 official meeting, which was really just an organizational meeting, which was last night, to do the swearing in, to appoint people to the various boards that the city is on, that sort of thing, to set our calendar for the year of meetings. So we have had 1 special meeting, and our first regular meeting will be next Monday, which is, I think, the same time as yours, yes. 7 o'clock next Monday.
So Roger, you had mentioned that the people of Maple Plain were looking for some change. You must have had 2 seats up as well. Was there a total change on your council?
No, because the only change will be the mayor. The 2 other seats were unopposed, so therefore, you know, they have been there at least one for 4 years. The other one was just appointed, and he's only been on there for a few months. But he's also a local resident that actually works for the Orono school system. So, you know, I think we have a good tie with the Orono school system that we can develop into a positive for both the school system and Maple Plain. Okay. The other council person has been on there for more years than I, so it's been probably 4 more years than I have. So he's been on there for 10, I think, something like that. So as far as working together, you know, we have to work together.
Right.
I mean, there is no option. Failure isn't an option as far as I'm concerned. We just have to do it. Change is always difficult, I think, depending upon, you know, the circumstances, but I think change can be a good thing. And I think that that's the reason why, obviously, I think the residents elected me, is that they would like to see some change. So, yes, I'm hoping that, you know, we can all work together. I'm certainly extending the what do you call it, leaf? The olive branch right. out there, so that, you know, and we've already been working together, so, you know, it's going to take a little bit, but I've been on the council for 6 years, so basically everybody knows me,
Right.
good or bad.
Right.
They know me.
Who took your seat?
We're going to appoint that person through a process because it's less than 2 years, so therefore you can appoint.
Right.
If it was more than 2 years, then you'd have to have a special election.
So you ran in the middle of your term then?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
So in some ways I was safe, wasn't I?
Safe position, yeah. I agree with the teamwork. I mean, it takes, or that's what I would call it, the cooperation. We really need to work as a team. You have to, as you know, your commissions have to be on board, your park commission, your planning commission, and staff has to be on board. You know, the council has to be on board. I'm sure Maple Plain is similar to Shorewood in that we're weak mayors, you know, so our power is really pretty much just running the meeting, you know,
Right.
and being sort of the figurehead of the city. But when it comes down to, we just have one vote like the other council people do. So it really takes two others to kind of come along with us on the council to get most stuff done. And then, of course, the staff needs to be able to execute it. So it really takes everybody working together
Sure.
to make anything happen, or the change especially happen.
But never underestimate the power of leadership. I mean, the mayors are the leaders of the clan, and as you come through and you lead the meetings and bring things up and control how people come back and forth, it's very important. So I do respect and understand the weak mayor, but it's good to know if you know going into it you're going to have issues or not, if you think you might be in for a fight. Because little cities like, you know, I don't mean to say little, but the smaller cities around the lakes, we have a lot of things that come up, and people get passionate about certain issues that you don't even realize before the issue's in front of you, and it's hard sometimes.
I think you're right, exactly, Randy. And I, you know, even though we're the weak mayor system, I think, and hopefully, we can set a tone. I always believe, you know, like in business, the tone of the company, the attitude of the company comes from the top down.
Right.
And if the top doesn't set the tone to be respectful to residents, to want them to come into City Hall, not just because they have to, just, you know, because they want to, or, you know, they want to have a conversation. So you have to set the tone, I think, as a mayor, as to how we want to deal with businesses, and we want to deal with them. Everybody has an open door policy, should have an open door policy. So I'm looking forward to that.
Sure. As we go to break here, I want you both to think about one thing. When I was mayor, I always believed that the mayors were the holder of the visions for our respective cities. And the council and the mayors develop that and change it as the future goes, you know, comes forward to us. But as we go to break, think about what Shorewood and Maple Plain's vision is for the next year, and let's talk about that after break. We'll be right back.
Previously on America's favorite daytime drama, Lake Minnetonka. Brick has a secret.
Bunny,
Yes, Brick?
I have a secret.
What is it?
We interrupt this program to bring you this important message.
The Lake Minnetonka Communications Commission, located in Spring Park, Minnesota, offers free television production classes. You heard it right. Free, free, free. All you need to do is sign up and show up to receive your special TV training. That's right, folks. That's it.
Wow, that sure looks easy.
Our friendly and knowledgeable staff will help bring your idea to the big screen. Well, that is if you have a big screen.
Why, thank you. We are very friendly and knowledgeable.
You'll learn the secrets of how a television studio works.
If you can't see video, try taking off the lens cap.
Wow! Thanks, LMCC.
From studio lighting and nonlinear editing to on-location shooting, we'll guide you down the path you need to succeed. Just call us at 952-471-7125 or go to our website at www.lmcc-tv.org to get started today. Hurry in, folks. An opportunity this good won't last forever.
We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming.
So, you're not mad?
Of course not, you big lug. I just wish that you would have told me about LMCC's production classes. Maybe next time we can take classes.
Together?
Well, welcome back. Mayors, as we went to break, we were talking about visions and what you thought the city should be doing. Scott, you and I had a conversation before the show, which I thought was really interesting, because it is the dawn of the new day and mobile apps and smartphones. You were talking about new technology.
Right, and there's a lot of new technology out there that I think really can help the cities engage citizens and inform them as to what's going on. Shorewood is doing some of that already with social media. We do have a Facebook page. We do send out our newsletters electronically. I believe we also have a Twitter feed that we also supply information to. So we have some of that. But I think we can take it even further. I think we can do a lot more with self-service, which is going to the website and being able to do things that just mundane, like getting your dog license or different types of permits, you know, that don't require any consultation from the planning department and so on. One of the things that Shorewood does not do now that I would like to see change is just simply be able to take payment online. Right now, that sounds simple. You can use your credit card online at numerous shops, but you can't do that at the city of Shorewood. So I would like to be able to get that payment processing handling so we can, again, people can pay for their utility bills, they can do their licensing, all that permits, and right online and not have to come into City Hall. The other thing that I'd like...
I want to ask you a question on it, because, I mean, not being a super tech guy, and I know that you are a little bit, what's the cost to a city to change their website and get the secure network and everything to accept money online like that?
Right, it's minimal. It's, most web servers already have a security connection, the SSL as it's called, and you get a certificate and pay a fee for that, which is small. I can't remember, but I think it's less than a couple $100, and that's a certificate lasts you pretty much as long as you need it. And then payment processing is just like any other payment processing. There's a fee that the bank or the service provider will take, you know, for providing that service. Online is a little less secure than actually going in with your plastic card and giving it to the merchant. So typically you pay a little higher fee for that. And the problem is, as I recall, is that we cannot charge an extra fee for those fees that are passed along to the city. So we have to basically look at the bigger picture as to how many people will be paying online and build those fees into the fee structure. Sure. So it's not something that's difficult to do. It just takes a little bit of thought and planning to do that. So from a technology standpoint, it's done every day now. It's very easy to do. Okay. The other thing I'd like to see is more self-service, and by self-service I mean being able to go to the website and find information that normally you have to call into the city for. So one of the things the city is responsible for is locating utilities. So that is when you're going to dig in your yard, you want to know where the water main is or the sewer main or so on. And so those utilities that the city provides, the city needs to be able to find those for you. Now, I don't think we can do that on the website legally because it needs to be accurate within 2 feet when you actually do the project. But we can give information as a head start. So if somebody's thinking about where should I put that new garden shed that my spouse wants, they can look online, find their location, and find out whereabouts those utilities are, at least in the general vicinity.
So you're actually suggesting to integrate with the whole GIS system?
Exactly. The city already uses a service called ArcGIS, but right now that's PC-based, and what I would like to see it is go to a web-based system so that we can then share that information online with residents as we can, both legally and technically with them.
That would be a great way to help the residents actually not have to wait till Monday morning at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock if on Friday night they decide they want to start a project. And
exactly. There's some things already, I mean, we've started to survey things, for example, the ash trees in anticipation of the emerald ash borer. You know, we've started to put together a plan as to if these trees start to fall, where will they be collected and disposed of properly and so on. So that we've used our GIS information, we've started to enter that into the system. We've entered in all the city signs, for example, which, you know, that can come into play also for construction or other needs. So my idea, my vision is to put more and more of that information into this GIS system and then make that publicly available as we can.
So who does that for you? Because that takes a body to sit and enter that stuff in and program and make it available.
We have had the luxury of having our own city engineer, and he has done some of that in the past. That engineer has left for another opportunity, so right now it's a contracted position. But we would have to work with basically a contractor to do that, somebody like WSB, for example, which provides these services, or perhaps get an intern as well. That's something I could see us doing very easily this summer, is getting a college intern who's in that field to be able to do some of this work and get that entered into the system.
So, and I want to get to you, Roger. I just want to finish this up
because I'm good.
Yeah, I think this is actually an interesting topic. That
it is.
If Shorewood could get this done, how hard would it be for that model to spread through all the Minnetonka, Lake Minnetonka communities?
Right. I don't think it would be hard at all. I mean, the GIS system, just so people know, it stands for Geographical Information System. It's basically a map with with push pins on it, so to speak, you know, but it's electronic, so you can place these push pins and people can see what they are, and those push pins again can represent things like I said, the water, the sewer, the trees,
right.
and so on. So by having all that entered into our system, the ArcGIS system, they can actually connect to the other cities. Many cities, this ArcGIS, which is a vendor-provided solution, is widely used by all the cities, and it is smart enough where once you get on the web, it knows where the borders are and can seamlessly start stitching things together. So you can zoom out from Shorewood, for example, onto Chanhassen or Excelsior, or whoever's using the system, and it all starts to interconnect and tie together. So. Not a problem.
I know cities are trying to get to that. It would be great to get that for many reasons.
Mm-hmm. The other thing I think is providing more input from the citizens. There are apps now that tie into the GIS system, for example, to do trouble reporting, like pothole reporting. So with your iPhone or your Android device, you can say, here's a problem, and those phones have a GPS in them, so it'll create a message with the exact location and send it on to the city. And these apps are free and have the ability to categorize what the problem is. You know, if it's a road problem or a drainage problem, or maybe it's a dangerous animal or something, and then that can go right into the city's website and be reported instantly as to where that is. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for those type of functions as well.
And I think that function alone would be great to keep people involved in their government. So many times, as we talked about offline here, that you know, they want to be involved, but they're not until you put the orange cones up in the yard and then they show up asking what's going on. And I think an app like that would actually give them even more pride, because most of our residents have pride in their neighborhoods and their communities.
And I think it's a lot more efficient because, first of all, it provides a documented message. You know, okay, we know that when the message came in and who got it. It's harder and harder to reach people, as you know, by phone. You're going to probably get their voicemail just because they're spread too thin, and then you have to wait for them to return the call, and hopefully they get a hold of you on that first call. So telephone tag is a very inefficient way to report problems and try to get solutions, whereas if you can do it electronically, again, you have, you know, confirmation the message was received, you have some information that's pretty specific that can be acted on right away. So it shortens the response cycle considerably, and I think it makes government more accountable as well.
Well, I'm looking forward to have that conversation more, because that's a very interesting topic that I think all the cities should be embracing if they're not.
Yep.
So thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
So Roger.
How can I top that?
Well,
I mean,
we go a different way with that. Maple Plain's been doing a lot of great things, you know, with their downtown and fighting. I'm going to say fighting a little bit. MnDOT came through and took your town away from you for a little bit, and now you have it back. And what are you guys going to do now?
Well, bringing that up, I think that one of the goals that I have that I would like to see happen is that we create a task force, first of all, to work, you know, with each city. In other words, Delano, Maple Plain, Independence, Long Lake. We have a task force that is going to work with MnDOT, Hennepin County, Three Rivers Park, you know, anybody else, Pioneer Creek Watershed District or Minnehaha Creek Watershed District, just so that we can all be on the same page and, you know, look at our present problems, but also look into the future as to how we want to see Highway 12 and 394, you know, going through our cities, because, you know, right now we've got 18,000 cars going through our city nonstop from somewhere in Wisconsin, Chicago. And, you know, we're the first stop sign, so we really need to have a vision for how each city is going to be able to work with MnDOT in Hennepin County. So, and we can all work together. We really can. And all we have to do is have the you know, vision and the want to do so. So, in doing that, then we will also be working through Metro Transit on our park and ride, which is our park and pool right now. It's got an area where you can come in and park your car and, you know, pool to downtown or whichever direction you're going. But eventually we're going to hope to be able to have Metro Transit bring a bus service out, which will be able to, you know, take some of those 18,000 cars and, you know, we park them and then they can ride the bus, which is going to do everybody a favor. Plus it's going to be able to have people in Maple Plain that are going to get gas at whatever, they're going to go get some groceries or whatever, coffee at Blackwater, or go have a meal at the restaurant, McGarry's, or Waconia Farm Supply. They're going to stop in there and get something. So the hope is that you know, not the hope, but the goal is to get, people like Metro Transit and Met Council to be able to see that just because we're on the outer edge of Hennepin County doesn't mean that we don't have the same needs as everybody else does. And so we can develop that area then with, a future for Maple Plain.
It's an issue that I had when I was mayor, and I'm sure you guys feel this as well. Until we actually get a little power back into the cities and take it away from MnDOT, who decides how the road's going to be, or Hennepin County and how the county roads are going to be, there has to be more power back to the cities where we can actually decide be a voice at the table for those decisions. Otherwise, we get told what we're doing versus what we think is best for our respective communities. And nobody knows better than the mayors and the respective councils on what is best for the communities. There's always a frustration of mine that it gets pushed up versus letting it start down here and massaged at this area.
Well, I think one of the things that's important, you and I spoke a little bit earlier about, is collaboration between these different intergovernmental organizations. And the thing that you start to learn is that these things take a lot longer time than you think it will. So, for example, again, back to my term being 2 years, that's too short to really work with Hennepin County or Three Rivers on some of these things. Even the school district, their financial planning is out 5 years. So you just start to touch on things, and then you're going to have a change in government, and they start over again. So that's where it gets a bit frustrating. And I think we just have to continue to keep in contact with these intergovernmental organizations and continue to have a consistent vision and manage a consistent plan. It's just challenging. So.
I concur. Gentlemen, the show is wrapping up, but I want to give you each just a few minutes or a minute or less to talk about an event that might be coming up in your respective communities. Mayor, Roger, why don't you go ahead and start?
Well, we don't have any real winter events, although we're looking at doing some movies in the park type thing early in the spring. But right now what we've got our West Hennepin Public Safety training for Police Academy. And that starts on March 7th through the 18th. And so it's an opportunity for the public to take a training class that really shows you how the police have to, do their job. And I will guarantee you, because I've taken the class, Scott, you've taken the class, that you'll come away with a new respect for your police department. So
okay, and they can go to the city website to get that information?
Let's see, I guess, yes, it will be on the city website.
Perfect. So, and Scott?
Yeah, we have an event coming up that's a city event, which I'm pretty proud of. I've been involved also, just as a note, in the Excelsior Lake Minnetonka Chamber of Commerce, who actually helps produce the fireworks for the 4th of July and Art on the Lake and some of those other events. People always seem to give credit to the city for doing that, and they're not. In this case, we have Arctic Fever, which is coming up, and that is a City of Shorewood event that we actually collaborate with the other cities, Excelsior and Greenwood, have some involvement in it as well. So it's the only City of Shorewood event that we do like this, and it's a wintertime event, which is a lot of fun. We have dog sledding events, we have cross-country skiing, we have fires, open fires with marshmallows, that kind of stuff. So, of course, all weather dependent.
Sure.
This week that is looking not so promising, but we'll see. So, yeah, people should definitely go to the City of Shorewood's website. There's a link right on the front page, and give them all the information they need.
Perfect. Mayors, thank you both for being on the show today, and congratulations to both of you for your recent election results.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you.
So, and thank you all for joining us today. We'll see you next time on Tonka Report.